Hello and welcome to episode 87 of No Little Time. My name is Obed Velez and with me is the man with the new pants, Mr. Joel Young.
Oh my gosh, Obed. What a great way to start. Yeah, man, it's going to get sweaty in this episode.
Seriously, because today was the day that all the nerds came together in agreement for once. Finally, right? Yeah, I'm very excited. This is going to be a great show, Joe.
It's going to be a fantastic one. Very sweaty, guys.
Very nerdy one over here. Not too much gaming, just a little bit, but Joe, something happened today.
And if you guys listen to the podcast, Obed's pointing at his hat. Obed, what kind of hat are you wearing today?
There's the Last Jedi hat, sir. I still stand by that movie.
Proudly.
Yeah, I'm proudly rocking Star Wars The Last Jedi hat. So I am not ashamed.
You should not be.
No. Joe, before we start, man, just something super random. I heard that someone in the office approached you and gave you pants.
Yes, true story. True story. So I get a call from one of our colleagues, in your group there, and he calls me. He says, "Hey, I wanna give you something, something that you might want." And I'm thinking, something you might want. Okay, I'm thinking, I work with a lot of different forms of media, so I'm thinking maybe it's like a card reader or something for my computer. I don't know, something accessory or something, right? That might help me with my day-to-day functions, right? And then, so he goes, okay, yes, it comes out. So he comes up to my office space, comes up to me, and he goes, oh, hey man, so here's what I want to give you. It's a pair of pants. Sorry, and my face is like. Cool, thanks. I mean, that's cool you're thinking of me, but I did not at all. I mean, your colleagues saying you want to give you something that you might want. You're thinking it's going to be about work, and it's a pair of pants.
Yeah, I heard the story. It was pretty random. I'm gonna put you on the spot without telling him anything.
No, that was great. You know what, Obed? I think fun stories like this make the show entertaining. It was a very funny moment. You had to have been there to see me going, wow, okay, it's a pair of pants. He said it. He grew out of them or something.
He grew out of them
or something. I don't know.
It's a grown ass man.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess. There's growing out of them, and then there's some things that shrink. I don't know. Just maybe too many washes of the pants. I don't know.
Oh my goodness! I don't know, dude. I wonder how the people around you reacted. I was like, "What the heck is this?"
Oh, they were laughing as well because they're like, "Okay, that's nice." That's awesome. I mean, what are you gonna say?
That's awesome. I'm gonna let her know.
Oh yeah.
That we touched upon this story.
Yeah.
On episode 87 of No Little Time.
Episode 87. The story of Joel getting pants when he thought he was getting a media card reader or something.
You're getting a USB-C DVD burner or something like that.
Right.
Which are like non-existent, something like super rare.
Right, some random,
You get some nice Dockers.
That was a great what's up, man. That was
great. Yeah, that's the one. That's pretty much the what's up because there's no like dude. I was like I've been DMC5 on Son of Sparta difficulty. I've been doing that. I'm almost at the end again, and a ton of Breath of the Wild. That's it. I mean, I haven't watched anything. I haven't had time. We last week was ruthless for both of us.
Yes.
This week as well. I mean, we're recording Friday. We usually try to do either Wednesday, Thursday, but
our lives are just so busy now.
It's insanity. So I mean, it's good insanity.
Yes.
So and it's pretty exciting. So,
yes.
We're definitely in a pretty substantial crunch, but we do appreciate it. So, Joe. Let's jump right into this thing. Star Wars Celebration. The big episode 9 event was today. And the trailer dropped. And Palpy's back. It's like that's the thing that you need to know. No, but in all honesty, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And they gave us a teaser trailer. A very different teaser trailer from what J.J. Abrams puts together, which are always sort of very cryptic. This was like, I think because of a ton of the criticism that The Last Jedi received, he wanted to put together something that the fans could say, okay, that's what I sort of kind of wanted it to be. Maybe he's still, bamboozling us with this trailer. We don't know yet. We'll find out in December. But, yeah, man, I think it was great.
Yeah, same. Star Wars Celebration. We knew they were going to announce this thing. And wow, Obed, did not expect this kind of a trailer. You alluded to it. J.J. Abrams does not typically at all put together trailers that give it like a full story to it. It's usually something very much in the vein of imagery and very cinematic looking, but no real story connective tissue to it. Just things that really tease. He's a good teaser trailer guy, right?
Yeah.
And they made it clear this is a teaser trailer. Obviously, first one's always a teaser trailer, but that probably means we'll get a bigger official trailer later on.
Probably with Spider-Man or something.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
in summer. Yeah.
Exactly, for sure. So, but still, just for a teaser, it was a lot of stuff. The first thing off the bat, just to go into in the first to go into this trailer, dissecting it, Obed. The beginning part of the trailer showing Rey. She looks very much like a Jedi right now. She's got this demeanor. Her outfit looks like it's more like this solid white that we saw.
New lightsaber, not Luke's lightsaber. It's a reconstructed lightsaber.
Reconstructed lightsaber, and she did talk about that from the panel during the celebration panel. They asked her, "Is this a new lightsaber? Is this something to do with Luke's lightsaber?" And she said, "It's still a part of Luke's." Lightsaber.
Yeah, you can tell that
probably the Kyber or something on it.
Yeah, and there's part of the hilt that looks like Luke's lightsaber, but then towards the end where the blade comes out, that looks different. So
exactly.
Yeah. And it looks shorter too. So maybe they made it shorter for maybe for her to be able to handle it better. I mean, who knows? But
sure, preferences.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that TIE fighter, that TIE interceptor coming in, which we assume is Kylo Ren. We don't know, but we assume it is Kylo.
It could be Hux, but I assume Kylo Ren.
Yeah. And we see that interceptor coming in, and then basically she flips over the TIE fighter. It's great.
So a lot of people in that sequence were really paying attention to the action. I was paying attention to what Luke was saying to her. And Luke is saying to her, this is about thousands of years of Jedi history that's been passed down to you, essentially. And we know, obviously, the sacred texts that were in the Last Jedi.
The sacred texts.
Yes. So she has the sacred text with her, and that's obviously she was trained in a little bit in the Force, and obviously they also confirmed during Celebration this is years later. He's not picking up right after the events of Last Jedi. So she's had time. She's really studied this in the Force. And then Luke says, with all these thousands of years, now this is your fight. And that one part of it really connects to what Luke says at the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. So as we go through the trailer, then we begin to see, it shows the TIE fighter because she flips over it, jumps to a Kylo Ren sequence. It looks like he's fighting a Knight of Ren because the dude is wearing a black
armor,
armory, and he's body slamming him. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I didn't recognize that armor, so I'll have to go back and watch it again, full screen. But I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see him basically slamming a dude with a lightsaber, and then we see him reconstructing the helmet, which is something that we knew already from some of the pictures that got out there early.
Yes.
So, sort of bringing. I mean, again, I'm wearing my Last Jedi hat, and I like the Last Jedi. I think Last Jedi it's a good Star Wars movie. It's a good movie overall. I mean, I have not perfect, of course. I mean, I do have some issues with it, but the the good parts of it definitely outweigh the negatives that I have with it. This trailer was sort of like damage control for The Last Jedi in a way, and I know why they're doing it. In my opinion, it shouldn't have to be this way, but I know why they're doing it, and I know why they're trying to keep the fans happy. So, just putting the helmet back together, which is something that it's one of the things that caused sort of criticism from The Last Jedi was Kylo just breaking his helmet. I was like, but he's a Darth Vader fanboy. Why is he doing this? So yeah, we knew that.
So I think going back to that part of him making it, I think it's very symbolic, and I actually think it even will make The Last Jedi really make more sense to me, at least. This is just my opinion that in The Last Jedi there is that important sequence between Rey and Kylo where they're fighting back to back, and you're under the assumption that after the death of Snoke that he's now fighting with her, helping her. Something is happening here in the Force where there's a shift, and we realize that he's very troubled. We see that in The Force Awakens a bit, obviously, but we see it even more in The Last Jedi. I believe that after the events of The Last Jedi, seeing him put together this mask, it's very symbolic of how he actually feels. He's being put back together. He kind of almost tried to break free of that dark side mold, and he's putting it back together and really embracing the darkness all over again. So I think it's very symbolic, and there was an image. I'm sure it got online, but it was an image that they also showed during the panel to the people. Was the image of him, with the scars on his face and everything is very scarred. I think it's very symbolic of where he is in his life. He's very scarred. He's broken. He's trying to put himself back together.
Yeah. So definitely some symbolism there. Before we move on, Joe, what do you think that planet at the beginning is? Is it Tatooine or Jakku? I think it's Tatooine, and we'll touch on it at the end, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, that's interesting. I personally thought that it was Jakku because as the very next part of the trailer starts going into the Leia stuff, which is where I think the tie is coming in here. Where it's coming back to who Rey really is all along. We've never fully dived, and I believe this movie, JJ, is going back to what his intentions were. And so I believe that's why it has to go back to Jakku, because there's significance in why JJ had Jakku the way he had it. It wasn't just to be, it was to be like a Tatooine, but for this new legend of the generation.
I'll tell you why I think it's Tatooine at the end.
Okay.
All right. And then like you mentioned, we saw the Leia stuff, Leia embracing Rey and Rey crying, and then we see adventure and swashbuckly stuff with
they're flying away in this little like ship thing.
Yeah, with 3PO just trying to not get blasted again. I think 3PO dies. I think R2 dies too. He's not in the trailer at all.
Yeah,
and not in the promotional materials at all.
Yeah.
So that's shed a tear for the little droid.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, remember the Journal of the Wills, right? So at some point, that even if they do die, it's gonna be passed down to another droid or someone else.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the Journal of the Wills is, guys, I told you it's gonna get a sweaty episode.
It's gonna get dirty. And then we get we see Poe and Finn going into this other sort of adventure thing. And that's pretty much it. I mean, after this, we get the shot, which is basically the main. Oh wait, Lando. We can't forget about Lando.
That's what I was about to say. Billy D. Williams, Lando. He has his little laugh. It's a fresh laugh as he's flying. Which of all the guys who's flying the Falcon, I mean, the guy owned the Falcon first, right?
Yeah.
So
I bet there's gonna be like major callbacks to Solo on this one.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna go. It's like, oh man, I remember when I got my ship and it had like armor on it on top, and it was so cool. And now it's like, yeah. So I bet they're gonna say something about something that happened back in Solo. They definitely acknowledge it. But then, so we see him with Chewie in the Falcon. That's the only shot of Chewie, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And then at the end we see Poe with Finn and Rey and BB-8 and the new droid, which I
forget his name
have the
now,
designation. Yeah. And they're staring at what clearly is part of the wreckage from one of the Death Stars. It has to be the second Death Star because the first one, Palpatine was not there, and that's where it connects with Palpatine laughing at the end of the trailer. So, here's what I think the first part of the trailer is Tatooine, because they're going to bring in Tatooine and Endor to bring everything together. And I think they're at Endor at the end, where, you know, part of the wreckage fell from the second Death Star into the ocean. I don't know if you remember, Joel, back when, before The Last Jedi came out, we were doing, you know, our predictions thing and whatnot. And one of my predictions on The Last Jedi was that that Kylo was gonna turn, you know, to the light at the end of the movie, and then Episode 9 was gonna be about Kylo and Rey going out to all the different places trying to find out what's happening. I think this is what we're gonna see. They're gonna go around to the different places where there was significant impact on the Force, you know, Tatooine, Endor. I don't think they'll go to Hoth, but at least those two places for sure will be revisited. Maybe Mustafar, who knows? Because those are places that have been, you know, the Force has had a significant impact on, and that was my prediction that this movie was gonna be about. But with both Rey and Kylo, but this is gonna be Rey doing it by herself, I guess, with the crew. Yeah, and then Palpatine laughing. I mean, and he's, you know, confirmed that he's back. So in what form, we don't know. At the end of the trailer, I'm assuming that the wreckage of the Death Star is so it's kind of like the tree in Dagobah, where it's, you know, it's been so tainted with the dark side, and that's, you know, basically the dark side comes out of that place, basically. So that's what I'm thinking.
Obed, that is a fantastic theory. I honestly had not thought of that, but that's a great theory, man.
Dude, I told you like 2 years ago.
I know. So this is my theory, guys. So my theory is that, like I was saying to you, I believe that, and the reason why it's at the beginning she's at Jakku is because we're gonna find out more still about her parentage. I think that J.J. Abrams is really taking a lot of the concepts that he had from The Force Awakens that he's gonna really bring back into this movie. And a lot of stuff that George Lucas also had originally planned for Episode 7 at the time. So with that being said, seeing that in the name of the actual movie is now called The Rise of Skywalker. Right?
Who's Skywalker?
The Rise of Skywalker. So you're not going to just call your last movie The Rise of Skywalker and make it that the dude you're just going to have the Force Ghost of Luke. I'm sorry. I just don't buy that. So obviously I think the guy's in the movie. I mean, I think I've been on the record saying that, but I think there's a little bit more to it. I think that I still do think that what JJ intended was that she would actually be the daughter of Leia and Han, Rey. And I think that even in that scene where she's actually hugging Leia, which is a scene from The Force Awakens, all the footage that they used here is all scenes from The Force Awakens.
From Last Jedi, actually.
Sorry. Yeah. No, it was actually all from The Force, because according to JJ, and he said it in the panel, he said, I only use footage from The Force Awakens of Carrie.
From Force Awakens?
Yes.
Not Last Jedi?
No, okay. And he actually said, because all stuff that he shot, and something that Kathleen said is he shot like a stupid amount of footage for The Force Awakens. Like, that guy films just like crazy.
Okay.
And then they condensed a lot of that to what the movie, we end up seeing, right?
Okay.
So I think that one of the routes that movie was going to go was going to reveal that when Han died, she was going to be very sad because she didn't find out that was her father, and that's why she's embracing Leia, and that they maybe redid that scene in essence to bring it back to the sense of her actually saying like, "This is my mother," as she's now having this relationship with her and knowing that she's her mother, and knowing that she is also part of the Skywalker lineage. She's definitely her own person. I think that's important for us to understand.
Yeah.
She's a Solo, she's a Skywalker, however you want to put it. But I think that, there's no basis on this, but I just think that it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of show that, similarly to what we saw about the separation between Luke and Leia, that there's a separation between, obviously, Kylo and Rey, not being twins. We understand that there's an age difference between them, but that when Ben Solo was being trained in the Force and he goes full, like, ape crazy and, like, just starts destroying stuff and killing off other Jedi, whatever, that moment, Han was like, oh, my gosh, we need to protect our little Rey here. Yeah. And he just goes crazy and just grabs her on a ship and just flies away. It's like, here, like, we just need to get you away from all this because, like, bad stuff's going on.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me, and it wouldn't surprise me, if that's something that Leia knew all along because of being connected to the Force, right? Her Force meditation that's been talked about a lot in the books. And this so going back into the whole thing of the thousands of years and now going on into the future, I think that she's going to really discover who she is. She's also going to discover about what kind of things plagued the Jedi for so many years, like you talked about, Obed, these things of significance, and I think that the Emperor has always been present. We just didn't physically see him the way we always did. There was a Star Wars theory, a really cool account. They always throwing out all kinds of random theories and stuff. One of the very first episodes they had done for
his first video, actually.
First video was that Snoke was actually Palpatine, and that Palpatine, and that it was like a physical manifestation of him, like again, like that same spirit kind of coming into Snoke
of the dark side,
the dark side, right?
It's basically like Palpatine. Like his theory was that that's not Snoke, but Plagueis was actually sort of a parasite that would take over different hosts.
Yes,
and basically that's how he got around. That was the way he cheated death, and that was the way that he can manipulate life or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the thing about the Force that's important for us to understand is that the Force is everywhere, but the dark side is not everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's something that they've kind of with the Darth Bane and the Old Republic, whatever. But to make it quick, long story short, is that the dark side connects itself to certain items and places and people.
Yeah.
So the dark side, this great evil they were talking about during the panel, they were talking about the storyline being that Rey's against a great evil, and it wasn't just Kylo Ren, because Kylo Ren is not just the dark side himself, right? Like he's a pawn of the dark side. So a great evil being one of the greatest evils that they've all faced was obviously Darth Sidious, being connected physically still to the remains of the actual Death Star that was destroyed in Return of the Jedi. I believe that she figures out who she is. She understands that there's been this battle that Jedis have been fighting for thousands of years. Now this is, as Luke says, now this is your fight. This is now for her to now face the same darkness that's trying to come up again upon them, upon the Skywalker family, and go right back into her own family line and takes care of business, whatever that may be. I still don't understand why you got to go there, why you got to do this, but that's the parts that excite me, right? Like, I don't need to know that now. I see that in the movie. That I got enough of a tease of that there's something very significant about going back, as you said, Obed, but also realizing who she is and that this is her fight.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm there. You don't have to do anything. I'm there. So.
Yeah, I don't need it anymore. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Seriously. Yeah, like I've been trying to avoid most of the Avengers stuff that's been coming out.
Like a clip that came out. I'm not even watching
clips and all this stuff. Yeah,
silly.
So Yeah, which is funny because one of the clips, like I saw one of the clips, and we had like, I mean, we knew because we're gigantic nerds, right? So it was like, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I knew that we're gonna try and do. So yeah, um, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. It looks like fans are reacting very positively to
Yes.
the trailer, and that's good, right? Because fans were salty, being man babies and all this stuff, and crying around, let's do that, and that's great. That finally is like, all right, man babies, here you go, stop crying. Um, Bob Iger said that Star Wars is going to take a break after this, which is understandable. And again, we talked about Star Wars fatigue, and even Mark Hamill talked about it, and this week, and it's a real thing, right? And I've been saying it before, Solo came out. I was like, it's getting to the point, that we're reaching saturation on this thing, and it's kind of worrying that this Star Wars, which was supposed to be this, once every few years experience, now is being, pumped out. And that was worrisome for a lot of us. I know that there's Star Wars projects in the works. I mean, Ryan Johnson is still attached to his own projects. Game of Thrones guys are attached to their own separate project, which is most likely going to be Old Republic. I think Ryan Johnson's going to do something that takes place post Skywalker. We'll see where it goes. I am excited. Again, I love Star Wars, and I'm there, so they don't have to do anything else for me to be on board. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the big thing that came out today. Joel, tomorrow we're gonna get the full unveil of Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes,
that's the game that's being done by the guys over at Respawn. Of Titanfall 2 and Apex Legends fame. And yeah, I mean the concept, that art that they released and the poster or the art they released, and the tease that they released is good. Yeah, it's real good. Just before we started recording, Joe, I don't know if you saw that Vince Zampella confirmed that this is a single player story driven experience with no multiplayer, no microtransactions.
I love that they confirmed that, because it's totally different than Battlefront. And I also, which is fine, Battlefront's fine, but they don't need to try and repeat success. But also with, like you're saying, that if the guys from Titanfall and Apex, people would immediately assume, it'd be similar to those games. But no, it's different.
Yeah, the big thing being EA as a publisher. I think EA right now, with what's going on with Anthem. They really need the good press, so they're seeing. I think they're putting stuff out there to see how people are reacting, and they're being more proactive in that sense. Where before it's like, oh, this is the product, here you go, give us more money. Now they're testing the water, so it's like, guys, do you like this thing? Oh yeah, we like it. Okay, yeah, that's good. So good for EA. I'm sure that Respawn probably had complete control over this project based on the other project that got canceled, and all the drama that's been surrounding Anthem and all that. Just going back to Anthem real quick, I'm not going to dive too much into it, but there was a big a meeting, I guess, over at BioWare this week about the Kotaku article that came out last week or a week ago. I don't know if we touched on the last episode. I can't remember. It's been all a blur, but yeah, they had a big meeting at BioWare and asking everyone. It was like, oh, hey, what's going on, and how do you guys feel, and how do you guys feel about the article and what people are saying and what their speculation behind the studio is out there. So it looks like EA is getting ready to at least attempt to steer in the right direction, and that's great. So yeah, I'm excited for this thing, man. It reveals tomorrow at I think 1:00. Eastern or Central. I can't remember. I think it's Central time because it's going to be over in Chicago. But Yeah, I'm curious to see what this is. If it looks good, I'll get it. This would be a Christmas game because it comes out at the end of the year. I mean, basically, it's still
Yes.
on schedule based on what they said.
And now,
So
but
yeah,
this is one of my anticipated games for the year. From we were talking at the end of
yeah,
last year, this is one of the ones I told you I was looking forward to. And but you and I at the same time were in the same boat. Of like we just didn't know if it would even come because like it was so quiet, and obviously
yeah.
the news of Battlefront of reception that game had. We just didn't know what kind of stuff was going on there. So I'm glad to see that's in the works. Glad to see that's something different. And I look forward to playing as a Jedi. It's been, I mean, obviously, yeah, you can
It's
play
been a
as the
while.
heroes in Battlefront, whatever. But I want a full-on story. Looks like at least you'll be playing as a Jedi. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. So pretty interesting in that, Joel. Joel, moving into we got to pay the bills with Disney over here. So
I know.
Disney Plus, which is again one of the most anticipated things that we've talked about this year. So we finally have a date. We finally have a price. Again, day one, because they're aggressive. Like they want to hit Netflix like puppet cap on their knees and see what happens. Right? They're coming out to win. They're again, as I've been saying it, and it's funny because they everyone thinks it's like, oh, it's Disney, but you don't understand that Disney's in it to win it.
They don't just mess around.
They don't mess around. Yeah. So coming out November 12th, $6.99 or $69.99 for the year. Yeah, that's very aggressive pricing. Of course, we got all the Disney Vault, a bunch of Marvel stuff that got announced, like Wanda Maximoff and Division, and Hawkeye series, and of course we knew about Loki, and we knew about Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm actually pretty excited about that one. So, and then we get the Star Wars stuff. We get the Mandalorian. We get more Disney live action stuff that's gonna be exclusive to this platform. And one of the biggest ones, Joe, is The Simpsons. Is gonna be all 30 seasons of The Simpsons are gonna be available for streaming for the first time, and that's big. Like if somehow Disney's able to get a hold of Futurama, that would be pretty cool. I think Futurama is owned by Sci-Fi. I think Fox actually sold the property off. I think about 15 years ago, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
So, but yeah, they're very aggressive. They're coming, man, and they need to win it.
They are. $6.99 being a fantastic way to start.
That's Crunchyroll, bro.
Yeah,
Crunchyroll's $6.99. I don't get all that.
Exactly. No, it's a great
Seriously.
deal.
Yeah.
It sounds like a steal for the amount of quality content that you're gonna get from day one. Interesting timing, November 12th. That's interesting. I think it's fine. I would have liked it sooner, right? That's like selfishly, but
Q1.
it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's fine for the timing that's supposed to come out. They must really have a high expectation, high number count, at least that they're forecasting for day one subscribers, and they should have that. I mean, look, they don't just have the stuff that you and I are talking about. We're talking about the Marvel and the Star Wars properties that are going to be on there, which is enough for, I think, more than half of the fanboy and fangirl community just to put their money behind it. But then you start including other things like, they have National Geographic. You mentioned Obed, The Simpsons. People don't realize the reason why this is also going to combat Netflix is because they've got the Fox properties, right? So, like, all this slew of Fox films and different properties that Fox own, they're gonna make originals. They're gonna just release on their old stuff. They're gonna be able to have all these properties on Disney Plus. So that's a huge sell. Then you start getting nostalgia. They got High School Musical, new series coming on there. They'll get another community that loves their National Geographic exclusives on here, and there's a large fan base for that. I know plenty of National Geographic fans out there. I mean, this is the reason I talk about this, because when we're talking about Disney Plus, I think people look at it as like, oh, that's a nice little couple of movies and shows. It's like, no, they're gonna have a vast library from the first day. So the Marvel stuff that they announced, I think the Hawkeye thing really is the one that has me the most excited for, because I really think that he would do great on the smaller screen. I think there's a lot of really good stuff they can do.
Yeah, I think he'll be like Daredevil, be a good character as a as a standalone TV thing. That would be pretty good.
Yeah, the What If series, I've talked to you about that before. I think that's going to be something that can be really fun, and it's going to be animated, so I think that's a great choice as well. I think also, obviously having the Mandalorian Day One, that could end up being in all seriousness their best original from the first day, just because you've got Jon Favreau, the guy who started with Iron Man and now has the Jungle Book coming out over here. Like, this guy's on fire.
Lion King.
Jungle Book, Lion King. Thank you, sir. He's got a lot of fire behind him, right? And then he's now doing, obviously the Mandalorian, and you've got the Russo brothers connected to that series. You've got Taika Waititi. You've just got a slew of great names working on that show. I think that show could be their best Day One original. There's so much positive news behind this, Obed. I could talk about it for a while.
Yeah. The only thing that I didn't see was announced platforms. I'm assuming it's going to be iOS and Android, probably Apple TV.
They're probably still getting contracts together for all that.
For all that stuff, yeah. I mean, this thing has to be on like Amazon Fire and and Roku and all this stuff.
Anything that has Wi-Fi connection and smart apps will probably have it.
Yeah, probably. I was thinking of actually getting an Apple TV, maybe like for Christmas when the next the next update comes out, if it comes out this year. If not, I think I found the trick of buying Apple products is actually buy last year's product and save yourself like $100. So.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, seriously, it's a great idea. You just wait for last year's product, and that's it's still decent. It's still a good quality product, and you save yourself some money. So I found out that I don't know if we talked. We didn't talk about, speaking of Apple. Just not to digress too much here. Did you see the Power Beats Pro? They look sick, man.
I did. They look really good.
$250 though. That's expensive. That's a lot of money.
That's the problem about like the Beats thing. Like they're overpriced.
Yeah, I mean for what they are, I mean I would rather have those than the EarPods.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know that Sony has a really good pair of noise canceling earbuds, kind of like the Pros for like $180 or something. So
yeah.
And Sony, of course, sound quality on headphones. It's great. Yeah.
Sony headphones right now.
Yeah. Seriously, it's like all my headphones are Sony, except cash their checks with Disney and Sony over here. We'll talk about PlayStation in a minute. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. Again, they won for me on this one.
Yeah, great service.
Yeah, Joe. Let's talk about. Yeah, you know what? Before we jump into this, Lion King. What do you think of that trailer?
Oh my goodness, Obed! I didn't see this trailer coming.
Phenomenal.
I mean, it just dropped, and I was like, oh my goodness!
Like, it's phenomenal, man.
The last one was great, and then this one you've got a better look at Timon and Pumbaa, a interesting look at Scar. I've heard a lot of mixed responses. I think it's fine, man.
It looks fine,
It looks realistic. It makes sense.
Exactly. It looks realistic. It looks like a sick lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like, Scar on the other movie, is very stylized, and, the black mane and all this, like, different, like, unnatural colors for a lion. This looks like a real lion that's, like, mad and sick.
And he's fought some things to eat some things, and he's got scars, right?
Yeah. He looks. I think he looks great. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna cry like a friggin' baby on this movie.
And the thing is, it's not even like we don't know what happens. Like, this movie,
I know.
Like, it's a remake, man. Like, we've seen this movie before, and we're still gonna put our money behind it to see the same movie for it again because it looks that good.
And I'm gonna cry again.
I'm gonna cry all over again because they show the Mufasa stuff.
Mufasa.
Can't do it. James Earl Jones.
He looks really good. I heard I heard the mixed things on Scar more about the voice acting, but. He sounded fine to me. So
Same.
I don't know. People are.
To be honest with you, I think the Jafar voice bothered me more. Not bad, but I'm just saying it bothered me for
Bring me the lamp.
Bring me the lamp. I was like, that's Jafar. Like, that's not.
Yeah, that one was a little more concerning than Scar for sure. Yeah, but yeah, it looked phenomenal, man. And again, this casting that they have going on, it's like one in a lifetime type of cast. So
yeah, for sure.
It's gonna be great. So
yeah, I like how Timon and Pumbaa look. I know some people didn't like how they look. I don't
they
understand.
they look real. They look real. I mean,
real.
Wasn't this supposed to be a live action? And I'm losing quotes on live action, right? Because it's CG. But they should look real, right? Warhawk looks like garbage. Go to Animal Kingdom. They have warthogs there. They have meerkats at Animal Kingdom. Yeah, they look like that.
Exactly. This is not an animated movie. It's supposed to be very real.
It's supposed to be very realistic. Yeah. So, no, I totally appreciate their, the realism on this thing because it looks fantastic.
Talk to the man babies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think this is not more of a man. But actually, you know what? I didn't see too many issues with man babies, but I'm just gonna leave it there. Some of the issues that I saw, I'm just gonna move on. Yeah, I'm just gonna move on. Joe, for the second time in a row, we're gonna talk positively about DC.
I know.
Because my goodness.
What a trailer.
Probably the trailer that I've seen the most times ever in my life ever is this Joker trailer. It is so good. And I'm still like, I think about it and that's like, I'm still speechless because I don't, what can I say about it? It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's the only thing I can say.
Yeah, I watched the trailer. You and I saw the trailer together. We both watched it and we said to ourselves like we could definitely see this. Maybe even getting recognized, like critically recognized, this movie just from the appearance, right? DC. I think there's strong standpoints when they tell the dark human side of their characters. Obviously, this godlike stuff just doesn't seem to be working. Like people don't want these big. If you look at the Chris Nolan movies, right? It wasn't a godlike Batman, right? It was very human, very character story based stuff. And I think that's the same way that they're going with this movie, right? Like love the character, know the character, watch the character, be moved by the character.
So I think the big thing is I think this is more of a character study than anything else, right? This is, and I think this movie is going to be very unpredictable in what it's trying to do. Of course, it's setting up something. We don't know what this movie's setting up. It could be the Matt Reeves Batman.
Could be.
It could be a prequel to The Dark Knight for my take on this movie, right? And I watched the trailer many, many times, and there's callbacks to Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke. There's a lot of callbacks on that. We're not gonna spoil the callbacks because it's pretty crazy stuff.
Absolutely.
But again, very unpredictable. I think this movie is going to be very unpredictable. It's going to do something that hasn't been done before, which is I think that this movie is going to create empathy first, right, for the character. Oh, he's been through so much. No wonder he's so upset about everyone and he's going to go crazy. But at the end of the movie, he's going to do these things that are going to be like, oh my God, he's so evil. And they're gonna flip it on you. And this is gonna be like Taxi Driver, right? It's a lot of comparisons to Taxi Driver. It's gonna be one of these movies that I think this movie is gonna flip on everyone and create empathy and then create resentment after the empathy has been established, and it's gonna mess up people. Like people are gonna be thinking about, wow, this is the way that the movie is gonna make you feel. I don't think this is gonna be a comfortable movie to watch, and not in the sense that it's gonna be gruesome or extremely violent, because it's probably not going to be. But it's going to be very psychological, and it's going to be very it's going to create awareness on many things and mental illness and all this stuff, right? So I think what they're trying to do is brilliant, and it wouldn't shock me, Joel. Again, going back to this could be a a prequel to the Dark Knight trilogy. Dude, at the end of the movie, because we saw a kid in the trailer, which everyone's assuming it's Bruce Wayne, potentially, right?
Could be.
We're also assuming that the man on the TV doing the interview about how Gotham's lost his way and all that is Thomas Wayne, because Thomas Wayne is supposed to be a significant part of this movie.
Right.
So, just establishing that, I think that towards the end of the movie, two things are going to happen, right? He's either going to die, or he's going to get into, he's going to get put in Arkham, because of course, we saw Arkham in the trailer. Arkham State Hospital versus not the Arkham Asylum. That comes later.
Yes.
He's going to get put into Arkham, and it wouldn't shock me that the movie ends with him looking at this young guy and asking him, hey, how do you get those scars? And just the movie ends. And just sets up, the Joker from the Dark Knight trilogy. And, basically that Joker from the Dark Knight takes over this Joker. Because he's old. He's too old. If Bruce Wayne's the kid, he's got 30 years on him. So this is how it all started. And this is how the Joker is not only a character, it is a state of mind sort of thing,
Yes, and I love that. I love what you just described there, because I think that's that's my real hope for the route that they go. Exactly what you're saying, and won't surprise me either, because it's important for people to understand the Joker is not really one person. It's very much like the spirit of Joker has been talked about a lot through different comic book lines, because there's a lot of different stories behind who the Joker could be, and I think a lot of that has come around to the fact that we don't really know who he is, because he could have been this guy and then it became that guy, like you're talking about. I mean, you've seen some of the Batman Beyond stuff, and then you look at some of the Killing Joke, and look at different things. There's a lot of different spirit of Joker kind of storylines going on there. So, and
the other Joker, the one with a skin mask that's recently, I mean, there's many different iterations of the Joker, and it's clearly not the same person.
It's not. So I think you're absolutely on the nose there, and I think that would be a great to set off to go off into the future in that way. I think that'd be a great way to end it. The whole thing and the Killing Joke is, what would it be like to have one bad day? And I think that's going to be where the flip takes place, right? Where you're talking about where he goes from somebody that you're like, oh, I feel bad about you. And then the next moment you're like, oh my goodness, this guy wants you to feel the deep pain that he feels, but he wants you to feel it in like in a horror. I mean, it's not just like it's not justice. This is an injustice. Yeah, exactly. That's actually happening.
It's not. Again, you have to think about the Joker being the anti-Batman.
Yes.
So whereas Batman creates justice with what happened to him, the Joker creates chaos with what happened to him.
Exactly. So, that's the parallel.
Yeah. And
I think that's the only thing about it that, from at least the trailer, obviously I haven't seen the movie, that I'm like not sold on yet, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad. I mean, I told you, I think the trailer looks really good. But for me, it's just the fact of like, I kind of feel bad for the guy. The guy gets beat up and he's, mentally ill or mentally challenged or whatever. I'm like, with all due respect, there's a lot of mentally challenged people.
They're gonna flip it on you, man.
They don't go berserk. I'm not so necessarily feel bad about that, but and I think that's probably just because of me being so in love with the Chris Nolan Batmans, where in that storyline where the Dark Knight, where the famous line from Alfred, where he says some men just want to watch the world burn, like, because Batman's looking at him thinking like, what happened to this guy, like this guy must have a story that's really bad, and Alfred's like, no, like some people just are so mad they just literally want to just see the world burn, and that makes them happy. And I think that's how I've always viewed the Joker, as somebody who just he's happy with the chaos makes him happy. And in this storyline, I think it's more of like unfortunate events turned him to love chaos. Still, it's different, but it still gets there, right? So it's still a Joker in that way. That's just how I feel, but that doesn't mean that it's not, it doesn't make sense, right? Like it makes sense. It's just that's just how I feel. But yeah, I haven't seen the movie, so I have to see how that's all gonna play out. I think it'll be just fine, right?
Yeah, I think they're gonna flip it on you. Like this, like when this thing about empathy, and you're gonna feel bad for him, and oh, poor guy, and his mom, and clearly his
Which is
mom.
weird. Why are you
It's
bathing? Why
so
are you
so
bathing your mother?
here's what I think. So his mom has to be like disabled, and he's like working
I
these
hope
jobs
so.
trying to help his mom. Yeah, it has to be something like that. I don't think it's anything weird. I think it's just that his mom's disabled, and he's trying to help her. Bathe, and kids take care of their parents where they're old, and they bathe them, they'll help them do their stuff. So maybe he's doing that, right?
Yep,
I'm not going into this whole crazy thing.
Yeah, we'll
but
see.
I think that yeah, man. And then the music they picked was perfect.
Yeah.
Jimmy Durante, it was and then they go the cinematography and the color palette. It was Joe. I'm still like stunned.
Sure.
It's been a week. It's been a week, and I'm still stunned with how good this trailer is. And it's like, it's probably the best teaser trailer for a movie that I've seen in a very, very long time, man.
Wow.
Even better than what Marvel has put out. Which the first Avengers Infinity War trailer was really good. That was really exciting and something that made me feel stuff. But the things that this trailer makes me feel is like, it's good. It's good. I think high hopes, right?
Let's see if it captivates audiences. Let's see if audiences feel so moved by the trailer that they go and watch it. I'll be very curious to see how this performs, right? Word of mouth is going to be a big thing. How they marketed it, but if you put together a good trailer, that's the right first step, right? So
Exactly.
So we'll see how it's accepted. I'll be very curious to see if it really moves people in a way that they have to go out and watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Joel, just to wrap up, let's talk some PlayStation. There's PSN name changes finally are live after all this time. Now you cannot you don't have to be Bunk Bro 420.
I know,
for the rest of your life, Joel.
Oh my goodness,
Joel, you can change that.
The one that I told you about, this one guy. Remember I told you there's a game journalist out there that he wrote something about his back. I think he ended up just getting a whole new account, but I think he said it was like Mr. Doubtfire or something
Mr.
crazy.
Doubtfire,
it's like,
yeah.
What?
Man,
Some weird ones people had.
I saw some really bad ones playing Destiny. It was ridiculous. And also, so guys, that's live. If you want to change your PlayStation name account, change it at your own risk. It's creating some issues out there.
You change it one time for free. After that, it's $10.
After that, it's $9.99 if you want to change it. Unless you put an offensive name, Sony will change it for you.
Yes, that too.
So they've been doing that. I saw that today. So a lot of people started using, going back to putting offensive stuff as their usernames, and Sony has been changing those account names back. So yeah, that's live. Also, Joel, the other rumor that's been floating around is that there's going to be a premium tier of PlayStation Plus. This is supposed to be released in conjunction with PS5 next year. Well, I mean, that the rumor is that PS5 is going to release next year. That's been my prediction. It looks like, based on rumors, they're going to release a premium tier of PSN. Joel, how do you feel about this? It's interesting.
It's definitely a way of them getting more capital. It's also a way of them, looking at the hardcore versus the casuals. The hardcore gamers are into the massive multiplayers, and the PSN, this network has been very good for multiplayer. There's been a lot of really good experiences people have had, but with this, the rumors are that with this PS Plus Premium would be sort of an ability to have a private server just for these premium users. So really isolating them, almost like a tollway in a sense on this massive interstate of network users, right? That they have their own private servers. They can quickly jump in and out of sessions. A lot more guaranteed there, right? Also, they're having this alpha or beta access early on. You're paying more for your own exclusive experience, which also includes you having access to games early. So it's to me, it's not something that I'm gonna go out and spend however much it may end up costing, at least right now. But I definitely see where they're trying to appeal to a specific community by offering them something that isn't on the market right now. No one else is doing it. So, it doesn't hurt them to try. They're not going and replacing PS Plus. They're just adding another tier to it, right? So you don't have to make this change if you don't want to. You can keep things as they are now and be happy and continue to be happy, and you don't have to complain. They're not forcing anything on you, right? But adding another option, I don't think this option makes it anything worse. It just is just that. It's another option. And if it doesn't do well, PlayStation can forget about it and completely cut it, and that could be a thing, but we'll see.
Yeah, if you play a lot of multiplayer games, if you play fighting games, if you are really into online gaming, this may be something that some people may look into. For me personally, I mean, if the difference would be that I can just set up my own private server for me to host games and do all this stuff, is probably not gonna be worth it unless there's something else, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, having options is always good. We've talked about how Sony's planning to revamp PSN for the release of the PS5, so we'll see how that comes out. I know that I'm still saying that we're gonna get a summer reveal for some sort of summer announcement for 2020, like March 2020 launch, most likely.
And that was actually included in the report on this, or the rumor rather, on this whole PS Plus Premium. What you're just saying was actually included on there, saying that the analysts are still predicting that it's going to be announced very, very soon, PS5, but still coming out in early, like spring 2020, or even the fall of 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right now, Xbox just announced that they are actually combining Game Pass and Xbox Live. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
For $15 a month. So, I mean, that's actually a pretty good deal.
It is a good deal.
Just to pay month to month on Xbox Live, $5 a month is not bad. So, yeah, well, things are changing. So, we'll see. I'm still thinking that I'm going to go all digital next gen, unless it's like a special collector's edition that I want or something.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'll probably just
because the next gen will probably also have a massive storage or great even cloud storage options. Whatever they're going to do, I'm sure they'll make it easier for you to get digital, right?
I think they're going to just give you straight up the option again to plug in a hard drive. You can plug in a 4 terabyte hard drive on it, and that way that they can make it work. I'm just hoping that they could just go all USB-C for next gen, just like the Switch, because the Switch is all USB-C for all their stuff. So
yeah, that's true.
So I'm hoping that they do that as well. Joe, that's what I got. Good to see you again, dude. It feels like it's been forever since we've done this, but I'm hoping that we are not too rusty. It's only been a couple weeks. Not too bad.
And of all the news that we came back to, I mean, just when it rained, it poured. I mean, this is a long episode, but a good one. And guys, I hope you really enjoyed it. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to us here on No Load Time. Go ahead and give us a follow on our social media at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, go ahead and subscribe to the show, our audio version on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify. Also, subscribe to our video version on YouTube. Make sure to send an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com with questions, comments, feedback. We're always welcoming of that. Of course, you can do the same thing on our social media as well. Make sure to stay connected with us and stay tuned for our next episode. We'll see you guys then.
Thank you guys again, and we'll see you next time.